of it is about teachers' assessment, right? So this is part of educational assessment class as postgraduate student and as well as instrument development for MA class. We are very glad to have student here. Okay, Fanny is a big fans of educational assessment. And also we have Afan, okay, older generation, okay. Desinta, Munaya, Khairatul, Paridwan, okay. Paridwan, how are you? Okay, thank you very much, Paridwan, for your help 2 days ago. So
Thank you, Pak.
I sleep
Sama-sama, Pak.
well now. Okay.
New handphone, Pak.
Right. Yes. Okay. So without further ado, Budia, the screen is yours.
Oke, thank you very much, Mas Bambang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I think it's 2 o'clock in Jakarta time. Yeah, so Brisbane time is 5 o'clock today. So I guess most of you here are Indonesians. So if we speak apa namanya campur juga is okay kan ya, Mas Bambang ya? Because I'm actually, like sort of kangen speaking in Indonesian actually. Okay. Today I would like to actually share one of my assignment or project while I was studying at UC Berkeley. So please allow me to share the screen. Okay, right, so can you see the screen all right? Yeah, all right then. Yeah, so again, as I mentioned before, so this is one of the project I did when I was studying at UC Berkeley, where Pak Bambang hopefully is going there, ya Pak, next year, amin. So again, my background is in educational assessment. At the moment, I am working at Queensland Tertiary Admission Centre in Brisbane, Australia. And before, I think since 2003 until 2024, I was a lecturer at Binus University. And so in this afternoon, I would like to go through how IRT, the item response theory, can actually be used to assess or to do the analysis of teacher certification data. But before we go into the details, please allow me to brief you about the outline today. So first of all, is about how global practices of teacher certifications are being practiced, and what is PACT or PACT. PACT stands for Performance Assessment of California Teachers. And then how my study unfold on the PACT data. All right. So globally, right, the common practices in teacher certifications consist of these 6 elements. Yeah. One of the elements, the first one, perhaps is the requirement of your academic background or the minimum academic level. So most systems will require at least a bachelor's degree for primary or secondary teaching. In some high-performing countries, or for example, Finland, teachers are actually expected to have a master's degree, yeah, making teaching a graduate level profession. The second element is about the completion of an approved teacher education program. So UNESCO and many national laws require a completion of an approved course in an appropriate teacher preparation institutions, yeah, as the baseline for entry to the professions. These programs normally combine teachings or on subject knowledge, on general or subject-specific pedagogy, and it may also involve some supervised practicum or student teaching in schools. Yeah. The third common element is then the licensing or the certifications or registrations. Some country refer to that with a regulatory body. So after finishing the teacher preparation program or initial teacher education or ITE, teachers usually must be licensed, yeah, or registered with a national or subnational authority. In about half of the OECD countries, just completing the teacher preparation program is not enough, yeah. The new teachers have to pass additional exams or some kind of probationary evaluations to get the full certifications. And then the next element is the induction or the probationary period or the internship. Yeah. So many systems have 2 to 3 years of beginning teachers phase, where the teachers work under professional or initial certification and must demonstrate competence before receiving the full or permanent teaching license. And the next or the final element can be called the ongoing professional development or some kind of a renewal. Yeah. So certification is increasingly tied to continuous professional development and professional standards. So teacher policy guidelines from UNESCO or even the other, international task force really emphasize linking salary progression, for example, and the license renewal to professional growth, not just the years of service. For example, in the US, yeah. And the final one, I think, is the professional standard frameworks. Yes, so many countries will have formal teaching standards, which can be defined as what the teacher should know and be able to do. That will be used for accrediting teacher education program, registering teachers, and appraisal or career progressions. Yeah. And the following slides, I have a list of different teacher certification system across countries. So the first is from UK. UK has a different routes or different routes, I should say that, of teaching preparation program. The certification is called Qualified Teacher Status or QTS, which is issued via accredited initial teacher training program, so ITT, right? So the certification is actually provider-based assessment. So it is actually given by the teaching preparation program. It contains, the assessment consists of continuous lessons, observations, evidence portfolios, progress reviews, and then finally the final, evaluation sign off against the teaching standards. So there is no national written exam. Yeah. So basically it is highly practice-based, very much, provider-based assessment. And in the US, there are two systems kind of thing, yeah. Before, it is very much, standardized written exams on content knowledge, pedagogy, but everything is multiple choices, and then you also need to perhaps write an essay on selected response or constructed response items, yeah. So it is actually provided by a testing company, ETS, and the assessment called Praxis. Yeah. But then in the past 10 years, US also has a kind of portfolio-based assessment. It is called TPA. Yeah, is educative, TPA is teaching performance assessment. So it is portfolio-based assessment, and it is actually used and required in several states. Not all the states, but most of the states. Yeah. So in this portfolio assessment system, the portfolios are submitted by the teacher candidates. Yeah, they call it teacher candidates over there. And then it is externally scored. So they would hire like sort of a number of assessors atau penilai gitu ya, who actually marks or grades the teacher candidates portfolios. So the portfolios, again, very similar to other countries. It will contain or consist of lessons plans, like assessment developments on that lessons plan, student work on unedited classroom videos, like for teaching practices. And then it is scored against the rubrics by trained assessors. Yeah. And then the next one, yeah, Australia. In Australia, it is called the initial accredited initial teacher education. And then it will have to be accredited against the national standards. All right, and then yep, and then each of the teacher preparation program, it is called the ITE or initial teacher educations, and sometimes you can actually like sort of go into or take an undergraduate degree of Bachelor of Educations to become a teacher. Or even, like you can also take a 2-year Master of Teaching, for example. Yeah. And then there's a nationwide test for all of the teacher candidates. And then it is called the Literacy and Numeracy Test for Initial Teacher Education. Right? And yep. So then they also need to provide some portfolio assessments as well. And in South Korea, all right, so it is actually claimed as one of the world's most rigorous system for teacher preparation program. So it actually requires teacher candidates to graduate from a specialized teacher education programs. And it also, the teacher candidate also needs to pass the very highly competitive provincial employment examinations, yeah, to be teaching in a public school position, for example. Okay. And again, it also has some portfolio parts in the assessment and some written test and teaching demonstrations. And in Finland, again, as I mentioned before, it is also widely regarded as one of the strongest teacher education providers. And certification system in Finland, all of the teachers have to graduate from university-based training program. And then so that's why certification is very tied primarily to the degree qualifications, to the bachelor or the master's degree in this case. And in Indonesia, of course, I think perhaps many of you would have known more than I do here. So in Indonesia, I think in the past 10 years also, we've actually gone into the portfolio-based assessment, where teacher candidates need to do a written test, yeah, as well as some practical or performance tests, containing, again, lesson plannings, teaching demonstrations, and some portfolios. So in Indonesia, you have Pendidikan Profesi Guru, or PPG, yeah, that is actually set up or designed to provide teacher candidates to support teacher candidates to pass the assessment system. Okay. So what is PACT then? What is PACT, right? So PACT is the Performance Assessment for California Teachers. It was developed in around 2001 by a consortium of teacher preparation programs at California universities, including Stanford. Why it is very important to say it here? Because PACT became the foundational model to create the TPA. Yeah, because you can say that PACT is the pilot project. Yeah, so once it's actually completed the pilot phase, it is then upgraded and then expanded to become the national model. Because in this era, one of a very famous docent, yeah, or professor from Stanford, Linda Darling Hammond, becomes Obama's like sort of a special apa namanya special advisor on education, yeah. And then so that's why through her connections in the White House, then she can actually bring this TPA portfolio-based assessment system to be, like sort of expanded at the national level. So in 2013, TPA adopted by many states, yeah, because again, it is then becomes mandatory for teacher candidates in all of the states to pass or to take the TPA program for their teaching licensing. Yeah, mind you, before that, each of the states actually did their own assessment. Yeah, some of them would allow praxis, those standardized tests provided by ETS. But then during this 2013 to 2017 era, many of the states mandates their teacher candidates to take the TPA. And then if praxis is actually provided by ETS, so in this case, the TPA is operationalized or managed by Pearson. So TPA, similar with PACT or PACT, is also designed to measure how well the teacher candidates demonstrate core teaching competencies aligned with the professional teaching standards. Yeah, but however, yeah, as soon as Obama stepped down, I guess, so this assessment system got pushed back. And as you might already, have guessed that with this kind of portfolio assessment system, it would require high cost, yeah, and assessment workload, of course, and then some licensing exam, because some of the states didn't quite like when Pearson, as the testing company, got involved with this, because again, like sort of some money would involve in here. And so it got pushed back in 2017. At the moment, only few states still mandated, but in California, yes, teacher candidates there are still using PACT or PACT for their main portfolio assessment system. Okay, so what is PACT? Yeah, or how does PACT assessment look like? So in PACT or in PACT, the portfolio assessment task is specific to the subjects and the levels. Like say, for example, if you want to become a math teacher in primary school level, then you have to take the program of teaching, then you have to take the assessment task that is dedicated to license you or to give your certifications on, let's say, numeracy primary level, yeah. Or if you want to take or if you want to teach, let's say, English, right? Or any other subject or history or something like that, then you have to do a portfolio assessment task specific to the subjects that you are wanting to teach, yeah? And then this specific portfolio assessment task is called teaching event. Okay, so what is this teaching event? So this teaching event or a portfolio assessment, ya, set atau group gitu ya, will consist of artifacts. Artifacts maksudnya is a document from a focused 1 week teaching and learning segment during a teacher candidate's teaching internship. Jadi during praktek mengajarnya hanya 1 minggu, ya. So in that 1 week of, when you are doing teaching internship, nggak cuma 1 minggu sih, right? So perhaps you, as mandated by your teaching preparation program, you may have to do an internship or a teaching practices at school about 1 semester or 1 month or 3 months, you know, it all depends on your teaching preparation program. And within the internship period, you only need to submit 1 week of evidence, yeah? And those evidence has to be the lesson plans, the video clips of your teaching and learning. I mean, like the video clips of you giving the teaching and the video clips of your students are learning from your teaching materials, for example. You also need to provide some student work samples and their feedback. And you also need to provide daily reflections or commentaries responding to a set of task-specific rubrics. Jadi sudah ada rubriknya itu. Okay? And then the rubric or the task will focus on those 3 domains atau on these 5 domains. Yeah, the planning, the instruction, the assessment, the reflection, and the academic language. Ya, bisa bayangin kan ya? Jadi dari ke semua dokumen atau evidence atau videos itu, the assessor, penilai, has to assess the teacher candidate's capacity atau ability in these 5 domains. Yeah, and then the items written here refers to the items in the rubric. So ini rubriknya nih guys. Ya, ada planning itu item 1, 2, 3, instruction item 4 and 5, assessment item 6 to 8, and so on, gitu, ya. And then the rubrics will actually evaluate how the teacher candidate, you know, like sort of performance in this item. For example, for P1, how do the plan support student learning of skills and strategies to comprehend and or compose the text. Ya, jadi si asesornya yang akan nilai based on your artifacts, based on your portfolio documents, gitu. Dan dinilainya is with a Likert scale 1 to 4, gitu. Okay. And in here, I have AL11A star and AL11B star. So for academic language item 11, yeah, there are some slight changed between the 2008 and 2009 cohort and the 2009 and 2010 cohorts, ya. Karena the prompt atau the questions are reworded differently, then we need to consider it as a different items. Okay. So for my study or for my project at that time, I had 2 questions. So one of the research question is that whether the PACT or PACT instrument can describe the distribution of the California teacher candidates proficiency levels as it was intended. Yeah, what is the reliability measure and whether the range of the difficulty of the items appropriate. Yeah, and then the second research question is that I'm looking at the multidimensionality of the instruments. Yeah. So for the data, I used the literacy assessment with a sample size of 1,700 cases. So it's 1,700 students. And on the elementary math with a sample case of 505. Yeah. So the literacy data is comprised of cases atau students from 5 California State Universities and 2 University of California campuses. Ya, di sini ada CSU 1, CSU 2, and so on. Whereas the mathematics data consists of cases only from 5 UC campuses, ya, University of California campuses. Okay. All right. So from the data I've got, then we could see here. So the left side in here is the literacy mean scores distributions, and the right one is the math mean scores distributions. Yeah, and in here on the x-axis are the items. Yeah, as you can see here, this is the mean score, yeah, from 1 to 4. So rata-ratanya pasti di sekitar 2 sampai 3, gitu kan ya. Okay. So from the data or from the distribution here, we can see that the planning items seems to be the easiest, ya kan? Soalnya gampang kan ya, cuman ngeplan gitu kan ya. So most teacher candidates could do it pretty well. However, the hardest one, it seemed to be the academic language. Yeah, academic language 11. What is academic language 11? For example, in here. In academic language, the teacher candidate has to be able to show that they describe the language, that they use the language appropriate to the student language development. Yeah, or the, hang on a second, or the next item of item 11, the teacher candidate should be also should be able to demonstrate the language that is appropriate to students with different with the different levels of English language proficiency. So as you can see, it is actually a very difficult task, ya kan? right? So both in literacy and math, academic language, the item related to academic language seems to be the hardest. Because again, the assessor, may just see or may only see the teacher capability in, let's say, in 10 or even 15 minutes of videos, gitu kan. Ya. Okay. And then when we actually see in here is the item difficulties using, okay, cohort 2008 and 2009 versus 2009 and 2010. As you can see in here, academic language is actually the hardest, okay? And then planning related item is also the easiest, In here, why I actually make a red circle in here? It is the P3, is the planning item number 3, seem to be statistically different due to the time differences, And then so that's why, because again, the data patterns behave differently. For the planning item 3, we split them up. So as a 2 different items. So planning item 3A for data or for students in the cohort 2008 and 2009, and then planning item 3B is actually for students in a different cohort year, gitu. Okay. All right. So after doing all of those, like sort of a descriptive statistic or initial check, then again, I went to do some modeling. So in this modeling, first I developed a unidimensional model, and you can see, of course, Pak Bambang would already taught you on how to read this right map, kan? So this is a right map for the packed items, the overall packed items, using a unidimensional partial credit model. And as you can see in here, the AL item, academic language item number 11, becomes the most difficult. Again, it perhaps due to complex scoring, because the assessor needs to actually see how well the teacher communicate with the students at their different levels of English proficiency. And then the planning item, P1, P2, and P3B in here, they are the easiest. Okay. And the one in here is the mean teaching proficiency estimate, gitu is 0.3 logits in this case. Okay, and then we will check, then I would need to check the item fit, of course, So from these item fit tables, no serious item misfits occurred, So all the items seems to be located within the recommended bounds of the infit mean square, 0.75 to 1.33, that's the magic number. Also, the mean location of each score categories increases as the score increases for each item. That's when we are looking at the item thresholds, because we are using the we are using the partial credit model. The next one, we can also see or check the person fit, So in this case, as you can see on the graph in here, apparently there are many person misfit, because these examinees or these teachers candidates' weighted mean square are outside the recommended bounds of 0.75 to 1.33. But, oh well, that's okay, gitu kan ya. Because again, with this limited amount of data, for example, or with the very difficult scoring methodologies, we can actually, like sort of understand, or we can actually accept that the data will not fit in perfectly. But then in here, I took an example of teacher candidate number 133. That is very misfit in here. Yeah, the weighted mean square is actually the highest. And here is the kit map of teacher candidate 133 gitu. Yeah. So how to read this again? This is the harder to achieve. So the one that is actually located here, these are the items that were responded more positively than expected. So these are the items that this particular person can actually answer, yeah, way more positively than, what we expected. And then these are the items that should have been well responded, but they are not responded well. So this is some of the misfit response patterns for some teacher candidates with a typical behavior. Atypical meaning that, like a strange pattern of behaviors using unidimensional partial credit model. Yes, using this technique, you can actually, like sort of extract this data. Yeah, for example, in here, these are the scores that teacher candidate 133 obtained in here, as you can see. Yeah, many ones. Yeah, as you can see in here, the planning items should be the easiest, but these teacher candidates actually failed to get a better mark in here. Whereas for very difficult subject, for example, AL12, this teacher candidate can actually do well or even pass, like sort of the item in here. Gitu. Yeah. Okay. And then apart from the partial credit model, I also tried to fit in the rating scale model. Yeah, as you may have already known as well, that with rating scale model, the probability of getting, either 1, 2, 3, or 4 of the Likert scale are actually the same, gitu ya. Kalau partial credit model, kan the probability of getting a 1, a 2, a 3, or even a 4 are not the same for each of the person, but for rating scale, it is actually designed to be the same. And in this case, the behavior is also the same. I mean, like sort of the pattern of the right map. AL11, the AL-related items still are the most difficult, and the planning items are the easiest. Gitu. And in here, you can see that, yeah, the variance or the mean teaching, the mean ability in terms of logics are also given in here. Although RSM, the rating scale model seems to have, like sort of lesser variance or lesser number of parameters to be found, but the deviance are actually greater, yeah, than the partial credit model. So deviance is the model misfit, gitu ya. Karena the deviance are actually less for PCM, then I stick to use PCM or partial credit model for the further analysis gitu. All right. So when we are doing multi-dimensional models, we actually played around with the models gitu ya. First, again, karena ada 5 domains ya kan, so I just quickly ran the 5-dimensional model, where each of the domains is considered as 1 dimension gitu. This is the correlational matrix. The one below the diagonals, yeah. These are what we call the disattenuated correlations. So disattenuated correlation is actually higher than the common or normal correlations above the diagonal, karena in the disattenuated correlation, the measurement error was actually removed from the calculations of the correlation coefficients ini. Ya kan? As you can see in here, that assessment and reflection actually has a very high correlation. Is in 90%. Assessment and academic language also. And then and in here, academic language and reflection is also has a very strong correlations. When we have a strong correlation like this, then we can again, like sort of try to make it into 1 dimension gitu kan. Karena it's very strong anyway gitu. Jadi akhirnya from these 5 dimensionals, then I played around with what do you call it? With 3 more models, yeah. The 2 others are the 3-dimensional model, where the assessment, reflection, and academic language becomes 1 dimensions. Planning and instructions stood by themselves gitu. And then I also did a within item 4-dimensional model. What it is, I will show you the graph later. But once we did all of this, like sort of multi-dimensional model runs, then we, like sort of collected the AIC and the BIC. So AIC and BIC is a kind of, like a model misfit criteria, or it's the same as you can also use the deviance in here. The idea is that we chose the less number or the least value as possible gitu. And as you can see in here, the least AIC and BIC figures or numbers of values are the 5-dimensional model, yeah. And here is the, like sort of the illustrations of the multidimensionality. So in this case, this is the within 4-dimensional model, yeah. In here again, because academic language, if you see the way on how they score the items, yeah, they have their own rubrics on planning, yeah, perhaps some set of portfolio to be scored as a planning items. And then instruction, ya, ini ada task number 1, task number 2, task number 4 for assessment, task number 5 is item 9 and 10. But for academic language, the score has to be obtained from all of the 5 tasks gitu. Yeah, so it's very complex scoring for academic language item. Jadi makanya in here for the within item 4-dimensional model, I correlated the academic language item 11 and 12 with all of the dimension gitu. Ya, dikonekin. Kalau between item 5-dimensional model, then yes, so we separate it out. So planning items only assigned to become one dimension of planning. Instruction becomes one instruction and so on. The between item 3-dimensional model, that's what the correlational matrix suggested, ya kan? Planning sendiri, instruction sendiri, assessment, reflection, and academic language jadi satu gitu. And then apart from that, I also played around with 2-dimensional model. 2-dimensional model maksudnya kita pecah-pecahin gitu. PRALIA ini maksudnya P itu planning, R reflection, AL academic language, I instruction, and A assessment ya. Ternyata yang paling kecil di sini adalah planning and instruction jadi satu, right? And then assessment, reflection, and academic language jadi satu. EAC dan BAC-nya di angka 33, 323 gitu. Kalau yang 5-dimensional tadi 33059. Jadi masih lebih sedikit gitu. Jadi bisa aja kita bilang, oh oke, mungkin memang 5-dimensional gitu. Packed PACT assessment domain ini gitu. Oke, so the conclusion ya. The PACT instrument can adequately measure the distributions of California teacher candidates proficiency levels as expected. Ya, dilihat dari right map-nya tadi. So there may be a need to design a better item atau task to assess the teacher's proficiency in academic language ya. Soalnya susah kan tadi ya, karena di academic language itu harus mencakup satu nilai academic language harus mencakup semua 5 task yang dinilai tadi, gitu kan? And then there is a possibility of multidimensionality of the PACT assessment, and the model fit statistics of the multidimensional models were better than those of the unidimensional model. Nah, kayaknya kalau tadi belum saya sebut ya, the person separation reliability, so the reliability index is also very good, is at a value of about 90%. So which means that the instruments is able to discriminate among the levels of teaching proficiencies. Ya, jadi cukup bisa mendiskriminasi gitu. So thank you. So I think that's about all my presentation today. So hopefully it's not too technical. Nggak pada ngantuk kan ya? Saya persilakan
Excellent,
Mas
Mbak Diah.
Bambang. Yes, okay.
Right. So thank you very much. So I think world-class expert explaining something. So you test it now, right? So I just I have the same kind of experience. Somebody invite me to ujian kompetensi guru in 2015 in terms of giving perspective in terms of test paper validity and reliability, right?
Okay.
So that's a different story actually.
Yeah.
And then, I think I already shared with Budia. You can see that the items and then the construct is should be in one variable.
Yes.
In Indonesia, even sometimes we just have only two two construct. Teaching and then understanding of the knowledge, and then we combine because we know it is numbers, so it's okay to have a mean for that one.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So it
Okay.
could be
Yeah.
there's the different story that it could be And also, I think in Indonesia, because we are a big country, and then we always try to make sure that all the money is spent wisely, right? So
Yes, yes.
we have very brave enough to include all the teachers in the one exam in one time, right?
I
So
know. Yeah, yeah,
successfully
yeah.
we disburse the money in trillion rupiah and nothing changed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Anyway, right. So thank you,
yeah.
Budia. Right.
Mm.
So I'm open for question and answer discussion. Right. So anyone want to ask Budia or comment or suggestion or critics? Okay.
Ya, ya. Atau
Go ahead.
udah pada dapat topik skripsi nggak sih gitu?
All right. So
Atau disertasi ya,
particularly,
disertasi kan berarti kan namanya
yeah,
ya. Ya.
dissertasi. I mean, um, the PhD student usually
Mhm.
start their own research on semester 4.
Oh, I
So
see.
right
Okay.
now,
Ya.
what we call some of them are in semester 1, some of them
Oh, I see.
semester
Oke, so
3,
masih baru banget ya.
semester
Oke.
5. So
Alright.
there's the mix of students, right? So
Yes, yes. Ya, ya.
anyone to questions about the topics? Okay, Desinta, you want? Okay, Mr. Ridwan going first. Yep, go ahead.
Ya,
Oke,
silakan Pak. Ya.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Pak Bambang, for the opportunity. Just because the presentation is about teacher competence, I would like to ask for a suggestion
Hmm.
from Bu Diah, because one of my research, also project in Pak Bambang's course, is to examine the ICT literacy for the teachers. Is there any
Oke, oke.
suggestion how can I how from your experience that I did the assessment for that?
Yes, that's good. That's good ya, Pak. Ya berarti kan then again, I mean like since you have to apply IRT for example in that assessment atau instruments gitu kan. So make sure that you have the data detailed enough so that you can actually make it multidimensional gitu, Pak. Ya kan? Karena pasti in the let's say in the literacy, the ICT literacy, let's say for example there are 20 items gitu kan. Nah, itu bisa dilihat from the way how the items are worded, Pak. Itu bisa kita lihat, kita kelompokkan sendiri gitu. Jadi kita bikin dimensionality-nya sendiri gitu, Pak. Nah, setelah kita bikin dimensionality-nya sendiri gitu kan, and then you can search through the literature review ya kan. Misalnya, oh ternyata di ICT literacy ini pertama kali tentang awareness kan gitu ya. Setelah itu apa tentang I don't know, I mean like you make up your own dimension lah gitu kan. Tapi the dimension the dimensionality definition itu harus sesuai dengan apa yang sudah ada di literature gitu Pak. Itu pasti karena mereka bikin instrumennya pasti nyomot dari sana sini kan. Pasti itu multidimensional cuma dijadiin satu aja gitu. Jadi bisa dipakai ini banget Pak. Jadi kita cek the unidimensionality-nya first gitu kan. And then we check the multidimensionality-nya. Entah 2 dimensions, 3 dimensions, atau berapa gitu. Yang make sense gitu. Bisa banget tuh Pak.
Okay, thank you,
Ya.
Bu Diah.
Mhm.
All right, I think so. Yeah, please, I always need to remind that quantitative most likely have to be suited well with theoretical and philosophical
Mhm.
findings first, right? So,
Mhm.
because the instrument itself is the
Mhm.
manifestation of how we measure that in the context of
Mhm.
numbers, right?
Mhm.
So, any other comments or question? All right.
Masih belum
So,
mudeng
Fani, you want
kayaknya
to add
Pak ya.
something?
Am I allowed to follow up, Pak Bambang?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah, Pak.
I quite have a difficulty to make a reference on many theory. So far, I
Yes,
only found the equal
yes,
theory.
yes.
For example, the ICT literacy is
Mm-hmm.
mostly stated by UNESCO ICT CFT. They have
Yes,
the ICT competence framework for
yes,
teachers.
yes.
And it has six dimension of
Oh, yes,
aspects.
yes. Yep,
But I think I would like to challenge
yes.
this
The six.
concept is not
Yes,
also relying on a single concept. But so far I
yes.
haven't found it yet another
Nah, yeah,
framework.
yes, yeah. Begin.
So is it can be that we are only refer to only one, but how can we give the challenge
Mm,
opinion or description
mm-hmm.
to the framework, to the
Yes,
existing framework, since we
yes.
didn't have any other equal framework?
Yeah. Nah, this is I can tell you all about my one of my topic in my dissertation, Pak, because one of my topic in dissertation is also based on OECD type of work gitu kan ya. Pakai PISA gitu kan. Nah, one of the instruments that I challenged is called the opportunity to learn gitu. Nah, in the OECD report, Pak, you need to find the technical documentations, ya kan? Bukan the report, but then you have to find the technical documentations of that instruments. Nah, nanti in the technical documentation of the instruments, they would sorry, or OECD would actually describe where they could get that dimensionalities from gitu. Pasti ada. And then you checked the reference of that part, Pak, gitu. Nah, begitu kena nih ya just in my experience, like the OECD report would only mention I think three names, Pak, ya kan? And then I would search all of these, sort of the work of all of these three authors, and then let's say from one, like sort of main paper that OECD used, there are a list of reference as well, ya kan, Pak? Nah, saya cari lagi tuh di situ gitu. Jadi sebenarnya kalau udah dipakai oleh OECD or UNESCO or whatever gitu kan, itu pasti banyak sekali literature yang menyebutkan itu gitu. Kalau banyak sekali literature yang menyebutkan itu, pasti juga banyak literature yang against it gitu. Jadi sama dengan yang di disertasi saya, OECD bilang ini ada misalnya 3 dimension, but then I came up with an idea, oh no, it's not only 3 dimensions, but it is 5 dimensions gitu. Dan juga kita juga bebas, Pak, untuk memecah dimensi itu. You know what I mean? So then like for example, as I mentioned before, misalnya planning, okay? So in the literature atau in the main report itu planning itu item 1, 2, 3 gitu. Item 4, 5, 6 itu belongs to another dimensions. But then we can scrutinize atau kita bisa ngecek lagi tuh, kita bisa kritik lagi wording itemnya gitu kan. Oh enggak, sebenarnya wording item 5 can be like sort of combined with wording item 11 for example, Pak. So it can actually becomes another dimensions gitu kan. Again, so this is modeling itu kan juga kayak art gitu ya. Jadi kita bisa aja berkreasi sebanyak mungkin, but then like how can we be creative? We also need to read a lot gitu aja. Jadi please base your creativity with the literature that you have already read. Itu banyak banget, Pak.
Oke, jadi
I
we
think
can reform ya,
Mm-mm.
we can reform the dimensionality
Yes.
from our perspective. But yeah,
Yes. Yes.
to do so, we need to read a lot. Okay, thank you,
Yes.
Bu Diah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So, Pak Ridwan, I think you need to have more exercise challenging the policy, right?
Mm.
Not always following what the Ministry of Education saying about the policy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bu Diah, Pak Ridwan, this is a lecturers from UPI, KIP Bandung,
Orang UPI.
Universitas Pendidikan
Okay.
Malaysia. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So now, Fani, next one, please go ahead.
Thank you, Pak Bambang. Thank you, Budia, for the presentations. I'm just following up the responses for Pak Ridwan previously about changing the dimensions or maybe challenging the dimensions.
Yes.
Right now, I'm actually this is actually the task from the large scales. The course from Pak Bambang's. I'm actually analyzing the tallies,
Yeah, tallies. Yes, that's
tallies
right. Yes, yes.
from the OECD.
Wah, itu banyak banget. Yes, that's
However,
good.
it's
Mhm.
unfortunate that Indonesia is not one of the participants of the countries, but I believe
Yeah.
that we can still actually learn from maybe like the
Yes.
higher scores taken
Yes.
from the OECD from the students.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'm actually looking on one of the dimensions that I'm particularly interested in, which is the culturally responsive. So from this, I'm just like doing like operationalization of culturally responsive,
Yes.
even though it's not mentionally specifically that it is talking about cultural
Cultural
responsive, that I
responsiveness.
can
Yeah.
take it
Okay.
some references, or that this is
Exactly.
actually connected,
Yeah.
and so on. But looking
Yes.
on that, you are also challenging whether this is actually one dimension or multi-dimension.
Yep.
For example, like I have created my operational this is the variable's name. For example, like this code is 16 question is cultural responsive, and based
Yes.
on cultural responsive, there are some of dimensions that I can
Dimensions.
also
Exactly. Yes.
put it or challenge it whether it's
Yes.
actually better in a unidimension or
Yeah.
multi-dimension. Is it like that, Budia?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think Indonesia participated in TALIS in one of the years gitu. Jadi bisa aja cari data TALIS
Oh,
yang
okay.
dulu-dulu gitu.
Alright.
Iya.
Okay.
Yeah, benar. That's totally, like sort of
Okay. Just want to confirm my understanding.
yes.
Thank you so much, Bu Dia.
Yeah.
Okay, Mbak Diah, this is a question from Hasnan Yasin in the chat
Okay.
room. All right,
Oh, okay.
maybe you can see
Yeah.
it.
Okay, hang on a sec. Yeah, okay. Okay, I have a questions. You try to mix match the construct of the test to see their dimensionality. Is it common practice? Yes. And are the mix matching supposed to be based on literature? Yes. I mean, I have mentioned that to Pak Ridwan ya, gitu ya. Yes, you can do anything, gitu ya. Maksudnya, you can do anything. This is your own study, gitu. And then, of course, when you are being creative, you have to have a very, like sort of good and solid literature to back you up, gitu. But then again, I mean, like when there is no many literature saying that, but if you can actually, like sort of describe it really well, then it can become your, like it can become your creation gitu. Jadi ndak apa-apa juga kalau ternyata mungkin not enough literatures in the areas that you actually want to describe gitu. Nggak apa-apa juga. Regarding your suggestion on the need of refining certain items based on the examination of the data, do you have any suggestion on how we present or report the evaluation of the item? For example, like considering other aspects, like sampling issues or other possible issues. Nah, ya, oke. Kalau yang tadi, so I think I will use mixed language ya. Kadang kalau bahasa Indonesia tuh lebih ngena gitu aja. Apa yang kayak tadi gitu kan ya. Untuk academic language, as you can see, itemnya atau questionnya itu sangat vague gitu kan. Sangat apa tuh? ngambang gitu ya. Karena kita harus ngasih angka nih 1 sampai 4 gitu kan. Apakah guru yang sedang apa namanya praktek ini itu bisa berbahasa atau menggunakan academic language, bahasa akademik loh ini ya, bahasa akademik yang disesuaikan dengan kemampuan berbahasa Inggris studentnya di kelas. Nah, itu kan tergantung kamu dapat kelas berapa ya kan? Kenapa hal itu penting di California? Karena di California itu banyak banget imigran gitu. Jadi banyak banget misalnya orang Cina, orang Hispanik ya, jadi kayak pendatang dari Meksiko, dari South America gitu, yang nggak bisa berbahasa Inggris dengan baik gitu. Karena bahasa ibunya kan bahasa Spanish ya, bahasa Cina gitu. Sementara kalau di sekolah harus menggunakan bahasa academic language gitu. Nah, itu susah. Nah, jelas ketika kita mengusulkan nih gitu kan, harus diganti dong apa namanya pertanyaannya seperti ini gitu kan misalnya. Nah, kalau misalnya Anda ini mahasiswa PhD gitu kan, biasanya ketika kita akan mengusulkan, kita harus mempraktekkan tuh, gitu kan ya. Jadi kita ngambil data primary data nih. Jadi kita bandingin ini, misalnya kita ubah pertanyaannya dengan data yang kita belum ubah gitu. Kan bisa ya. Jadi misalnya kita bikin 2 rubrik, yang satu pertanyaannya udah diganti, yang satu lagi pakai pertanyaan lama gitu. Apakah scoringnya berbeda gitu? Juga bisa gitu. Ya. Dan bagusnya kalau di luar negeri itu, terutama di Amerika, uh, F- they will do evaluation very often gitu. Jadi instrumen itu terus diperbaiki gitu loh. Kalau di Indonesia enggak kayaknya ya Pak ya?
Ya, gimana mau diperbaiki, dikasih akses aja nggak
Enggak, iya
dikasih.
bener, exactly, exactly.
Itu rahasia negara.
Iya, iya, iya
Well,
benar.
I think a long time ago, I'm helping one student in terms
Mhm,
of refining the instrument.
mhm.
And these students are what he calls hardliner of classical test theory, right?
Oh, oke,
And
oke,
then, yeah,
oke.
these students really believe that factor analysis is the best
Is
method
is
in
the
the world.
best. Oke, no, ya.
And then what will happen because
Ya,
of doing CFA, EFA, and then what will
ya,
happen? The dimension
ya,
the student identify doesn't
ya.
fit anything in literature review. So I said, so what
Oh,
now? And then the student are
iya,
crying.
iya,
And then he
iya.
said, yeah, coba-coba gabungkan seenaknya hanya sekedar data empirik, so it's
Please,
really
yeah. No,
disaster
it's
in
not.
terms of
Exactly.
yeah.
Iya, iya,
So
iya,
I
iya.
think yeah, and then there's dangers in terms of analyzing, relying on group center statistic
Yes,
because
yes.
emphasize so much on the empirical
Iya,
finding without
iya.
supporting literature review can be
Exactly.
very dangerous.
Very, ya, misguiding. Oke, ya.
Mm.
Ya, ya, benar. So that
That's yeah.
I guess the key takeaway from my presentation is that yes, modeling is actually very important. But then again, what can we get from the model is actually more important gitu. Jadi kayak tadi Pak Bambang bilang gitu ya, EFA, CFA, I mean like as long as you get a very good factors, then you stop. No, 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 no. I mean like because those factors has to be meaningful gitu kan, and then those factor has to be justifiable gitu.
Right. So,
Mm.
okay. So that's a very excellent suggestion. All right. So please be
Mm.
mindful in terms of that. So sometimes, special situation. So, I think last month I got one student from our neighbor, okay,
Mm.
student from Universitas Indonesia, and then
Yeah.
developing the instrument,
Mm.
and
They
the
like Sam,
supervisors,
yeah.
yeah, they like Sam, they insist
They
on
just, yeah,
classical test
exactly.
theory.
Yes,
And
yes.
something interesting, the supervisor saying something, you have to use dichotomous data. Okay. And then he got the
Oh,
dichotomous data around 117 items and then running for CFA. So no model come out. And I said, look, so what you have to do now, you have to change the what you call as the approach into modern test theory.
yeah,
So one step, you have to
yeah,
educate your supervisor first. I said like that.
yeah, yeah.
And and then finally the
Okay,
students what they call us can change the
yeah,
supervisor perspective. So thank
yeah.
God for that.
Yeah, it's very funny, right? I mean, like asking your students to only use dichotomous data. Oh my God. I mean, like it's because world is not black and white gitu ya, guys.
Yeah, but yeah, I think
Because
I sense that
yeah.
uh, uh, I can sense that the supervisor doesn't have experience dealing with the continuous
Okay.
data using factor
Oh,
analysis. So he
yeah,
just
yeah,
let the
yeah.
student to find the solution, which is beyond their control because the
Yes,
students are not having a good background in terms of
yeah,
analysis. All
yeah,
right. So thank you,
yeah.
Budia. All right. So any other one last comment or question? Okay, Munaya, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Pak, for the opportunity. Sorry, I cannot open my camera because it's broken. So
It's
my
okay.
question, okay, so related to the instrument, Ibu, so I want to make sure about what is the type of scala Likert do you use? Is it
Mm-hmm.
frequency or agreement or something?
Mm-hmm.
Because the question is, I think, more into the good or so very good or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to
Mm-hmm.
ask. And then the second one is the technical thing. What what instrument software do you use
Mm-hmm.
in
In
the
doing this, yeah.
analysis? Is it yeah? Thank you,
Yeah.
Ibu.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so the items, the scoring is 1 to 4, yeah. And then in 1 to 4, there are some rubrics for it. Hang on, let me see whether I can share you the rubrics. So when you are scoring an assessment like this, is normally okay. All right. So if I can share ya, contoh rubriknya ini. Bentar, mana nih? Mana share? Oke, share. Oke. Can you see my
Yes, Ibu.
ini? Ya, sudah ya. Nah, ini contohnya nih.
Yeah.
Ini rubriknya nih. Jadi misalnya P1. Ya, jadi si asesornya they have to choose which level that this particular teacher candidate itu is located gitu. Jadi misalnya planning P1, how do the plans support student learning of skills, strategies to comprehend and compose text. Nah, jadi dia akan harus milih nih. Oh, dari dokumen itu dia ada di 4 nih. Berarti dia akan ngasih 4 gitu. Atau, oh ternyata dokumen yang diberikan nggak lengkap, ini jelek banget nih. Oh, berarti si dosen, teacher candidate itu mungkin hanya di level 2 dia. Untuk item P1 ini gitu. Gitu ya. Nah, itu biasanya kalau rubriks itu begini. Atau misalnya ini tentang instruction nih. Item nomor 4 gitu kan ya. Ada level 1, 2, 3, 4. Kalau yang paling mahir pasti yang level 4 dong. Gitu. Nah, nanti the assessor or the grader itu akan ngeliat the artifacts, the portfolio itu tadi, terus dia akan decide which levels that work will be worth gitu. Gitu ya. Nah,
Ibu, extended
makanya yes, silakan.
So how many assessor Bu for the
Biasanya satu teaching artifacts gitu ya, satu teacher candidate gitu, 2 asesor kalau yang saya dikasih tahu dulu ya. Jadi kenapa 2? Supaya itu kan ada inter-rater reliability gitu, supaya nggak bias. Dan becomes the assessor itu di training dulu gitu. Jadi makanya mahal gitu ya. Jadi makanya untuk apa mendapatkan teacher certificates ini dari sistem portfolio assessment kayak gini lebih mahal kan daripada sistem multiple choice yang praksis tadi kan tinggal multiple choice ya gitu kan. Kalau multiple choice pakai mesin aja bisa kan, nggak perlu nyewa orang gitu, hire people gitu. Nah, kalau ini memang dia lebih apa ya? Dia lebih bagus ya kan? Dia lebih bisa menilai ini sebenarnya guru benar-benar punya kompetensi ngajar nggak sih kan gitu kan? Tapi ya mahal gitu aja. Bayangin kan ini kan susah banget ya kita gradingnya.
ya Bu, betul.
Heeh, exactly gitu.
Oke, Mbak Diah, kenapa nggak pakai, why you are not using multi-rater analysis like facet? So they keep insist using what you call
Exactly.
this
Ya,
two
karena
facet.
yes, karena I don't have the rater data.
Okay, alright.
Ya, kan kalau misalnya kita punya rater data kan it means that yes we can actually put in the facet ya kan. Ya ya. No,
Alright,
ya. We only have the item scores gitu.
alright. Okay, understand. Okay.
Mm.
All right. So, any other comment or question? So, if not, I think thank you very much, Budia. So, as usual, it's very excellent lectures, right? So, giving us perspective about practice teachers assessment in developed countries, in this case in California, US, and also sharing about the possibility to reconstruct and restructure instrument with different dimension, which is I think the skill most of you already have. Okay, so what you have to do is just lots of practice. Okay, in order to avoid cannot answer during examination, right? So possibly one of your examination may be Budia. So Afan,
Yes.
Hasnan, please be careful.
Iya, iya.
Right,
Oh ya, tadi
so
ada
maybe.
yang nanya tentang software ya, sorry Pak
Oh iya
Bambang.
ya.
Ya, softwarenya saya pakai Conquest ya, karena saya dapat akses langsung gitu.
I think Conquest is not a good software, Budia. I mean,
I
the data
know.
structures is not really good, and then
No,
the
yeah.
coding is complicated.
Oh yeah,
Flipper
yeah,
wins
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And then so that's why now, since I do not have direct access, so I'm using like the Conquest version in R, TAM, TAM.
Ah,
Yeah, that's the R version of Conquest.
Yeah, that's much
Yeah.
better. But I think the module there, so you have to study independently, not
Oh
like
yes, yes.
WinStep that is already there.
No, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you just click and things, right? No, we don't have that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
but when you are using R, so
Mm.
people will see you are very smart genius, like Afan, for example. He's very capable in terms of using R, right? So
Yes, that's right.
that's
Yeah,
right,
just
Afan.
use them.
And also Hasnan as well. Okay. So anyway, so thank you very much,
Yeah,
Budia, and then
okay.
all the students for coming and then what you call is participating in this one, right? So Budia
Thank you.
is doing it for pro bono. We don't have enough
Yes,
money to pay her.
that's
Yeah.
okay.
International export always expensive, but but Budia
No, this
willingly
is
to share
because,
the
yeah.
knowledge and skill. No problem, right? So thank you, Budia.
Okay.
So we'll
Thank you.
invite you later that one. Okay,
Yes,
with that, thank you
yes.
very
And
much.
then all the
And
best, yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yuk,
With that,
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum. And then I will close the Zoom meeting
Waalaikumsalam
room.
warahmatullahi
Right. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.